Mango protects against the devil. I remember my mother, which was really my stepmother, used to say that she would kill for a mango, and that was true. She did not have an easy life. She was very hard on me, but she did not have an easy life. Mango. So why don't we have mango in jails? Why not? Because we don't have that information. It's not honored, it's not respected, and it's information that's hundred, if not thousands of years old. I don't know about the mango, whether that's thousands of years old, but the coconut is. I will never forget. I had a dinner party, and I had one of the guests was a monk who was part. I didn't know Tibetan Buddhism had royalty, literally, and he was part of the Tibetan Buddhist royalty, and he was a friend of mine, very bright. And so I told him I wanted to give him a gift. I'll never forget. I had found the largest coconut I have ever seen in my neighborhood as I was walking around. And I picked it up, I brought it home, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. And I gave it to him as a gift. And I'll never forget his face because he was really confused. It was like, and I was confused because I thought he would understand the gift that I was giving him. And I don't know that he did understand it, which was a little upsetting because I lost my big coconut to somebody who I thought would understand and he didn't. That's okay. I forgive him. He helped me with a lot of things. Um, I remember when I met him, it was many years ago, and a lot of people had a very hard time wrapping their heads around my personal history and the fact that I had lived in Tibet for a year, which the government sent me there. People would say, oh my God, your family sent you there? And I went, no, my family couldn't find their way out of a paper bag. It was the government intelligence community that sent me there. And I remember I said to him, listen, I really appreciate it when I first met him, how respectful you've been of me, because I know a lot of people just don't believe my story. This was like, I don't know, I think it was in the 90s. And his answer was very nice. He said, I reminded him of the Dalai Lama's sister, which was kind of sweet. I didn't know the Dalai Lama had a sister. Anyway, um, so we're talking about magic in politics. So we're talking about coconut, we're talking about mango, we're talking about environmental issues. Why are we requiring that our politicians be in enclosed places where you're recycling bad energy? Because the good energy doesn't stay trapped, the good energy moves. It's the bad energy that stays trapped. And then you get all these pictures of, look at the design, it looks like something that's a conspiracy. So you go ahead and you copy stuff from the ancients and the Greeks and the Romans, not the Romans, but the Egyptians. You don't even know what it means, but you're not using something as simple as aromatherapy. And then you're wondering why it is that the third eye is on the dollar bill. Who did all of this? I don't know, but we're here to get this perhaps straightened up a little bit by giving you additional information. Magic and politics. You know that laughing can change things instantly. Magical. What is this with Elon Musk and Maduro? Are they going to have a fist fight? It's funny. And Maduro said, come on over here. I'm ready. I have no idea what Elon Musk said. I think he had an opinion about the elections, and Maduro didn't like that. And I don't know what his response was. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, this is wonderful because people are laughing. Now, what happened to the last person that Elon was going to have, not a fist fight, but whatever, I'm going to say fist fight, but I know it wasn't a fist fight. And that was Zuckerberg. And what happened since then? Don't we look at Zuckerberg with softer eyes? Doesn't it feel like he's kind of like more of a person than what some people say? He's a reptilian. He says, yeah, some people still say that, but we look at him more like a person. And he seems to be softer. And it was after that fight that was months in the making that obviously never happened. I don't know. I think Elon Musk's mother stopped it and said, her kid Elon had a bad back or something. I don't remember what it was. It's another type of magic, something that we're not used to in politics. We need more of that. A sense of humor. Trump has a sense of humor, different from Elon's, but he has a sense of humor. And it's really good. This is different. This is not like it was before. Political science is very. And by the way, you can get a mango and you can put it underneath your neck here, and the mango will start to turn really ugly because of what it's pulling from your neck. And if you get mangoes and you get 3 of them and you wrap them up in a towel or something and you put them in your solar plexus and you sleep with them, the mangoes get really ugly because of what they pull from your solar plexus. You can also do that with oranges. I had a follower of mine who put a coconut next to her bed. And the next day when she walked into her room, because apparently it didn't happen overnight, the coconut had exploded. Now, she also lived right next to a cemetery. Makes sense. The coconut absorbed spirits, but it literally exploded. It was like yuck all over her. And she didn't put an old rotten coconut there. By the way, you can use any coconut that you want. You can buy it at the supermarket. So back to the magic and politics. I am very proud to say that the Mantrista movement, which I basically started several years ago, and we started it having to do with a realization that we had to support Venezuela because Venezuela was going to be very important for the Americas in terms of this transition the planet is going through, which is really rough because everything is different. We don't know what end is up. That's the whole point. It's going to be like upside down. And why did I lose my train of thought? So I'm very proud to say that the Mantrista movement, we have created, and I'm going to say that we did, an incredible softening of the energies of rage and anger and despair in Venezuela. We have worked diligently with magical tools, mantras, visualization, as a community with several hundred people, focused intention. And that's where the real magic is, the power of the mind. Mantras are devices that liberate the mind. What they liberate are the mind strings, and the strings are the channels of the mind that we use to create reality. So if you know how to handle the strings, you can handle and control creation. So mantras basically help you having to do with creation or recreation. And we use them in terms of what's the before the election. We did mantras having to do with the elections being, I don't remember the first word, and fair, and they were. So the people that whatever won, and there starts the whole thing with Maduro and Elon. And then now you have the transition, which looked like it was going to be a mess. And then we worked on the transition, that the transition be grace elegant. And again, it doesn't mean a diamond tiara and a gown with a train. It means elegant, just graceful, graceful. And the night that we worked the hardest, which was, I think, 2 days ago, the next day, Venezuela was quiet. We worked again last night, Venezuela's quiet. There's issues. One of the organizations in Washington doesn't recognize the new government, but a lot of the countries do. So there's still a lot of stuff, energies that need to be ironed out. And then we have the people behind the scenes that want to roll into. I didn't know Venezuela was that rich. Oh my God. No wonder so many countries have their eye on Venezuela and would love to own Venezuela and have an excuse to run in to Venezuela. But we are still working with focused intention on protecting Venezuelan free will. They should be able to do whatever it is that they want to do with their gold and their unusual minerals, which, by the way, ETs, a lot of the ETs come because they want minerals from planet Earth because they need them. Like the movie Star Wars. Magic? Magic? So, magic and politics is not what I'm sure some of my handlers would have been worried. Oh my God, what is she going to talk about now? I'm not going to talk about any of the things that's going to worry them. I'm talking about simple things, because the simple things, it's not that it's wonderful to be simple. No, it's wonderful to be effective. Magic and politics, visualizations are magical because the way we create reality, intention creates reality. Your intention creates your reality. And a lot of times we have to recreate it because we created something we think we don't want. But if we look deep enough, it was really a subconscious intention that allowed that reality to be created in our life. We'll go into that at another point. But being able to understanding what it is that you intention creates reality. How does it start? With images that you focus on and you energize with your breath and your consciousness and astral particles, which that part happens automatically. And it goes from one dimension all the way from the causal dimension, and it eventually ends up as a manifestation on the physical. So visualizations, what do you want? Well, we wanted a tranquil Venezuela. We wanted a peaceful, an elegant transition, and a fair, and I don't remember the other words, so I'm not going to make it up, and a fair elections. We got the first, and until now, we're getting the second one, and we will continue to work on it. One of my followers, who, my God, thank you, spiritually sophisticated mantrista, sent me something that the dolphins gave me several years ago, talking about the mantrista movement and what we were going to achieve. And it said that one of the big issues was going to be that we do not want to be magical. We want to be part of a community. And they said that that was a particularly big problem that I have. And that's true. I'm a weird person. And then I have this god-awful history. And then I have this whole issue with, who is my family? What is my blood inheritance, which apparently is very interesting. And I really honestly just wanted to be like everybody else. And I know that, I understand that. I wanted to be a human being. And I feel like crying now. I wanted to be a human being because I guess at some point, because of my history, the way I was treated and blah, I didn't feel like I was a human being. It wasn't that I felt like I was an ET. So according to this thing that the dolphins gave me, by the way, spiritually sophisticated mantrista, do you have the date on what the dolphin said? We're not real efficient. I'm not talking about the mantrista movement. We need a historian in the mantrista movement. Yeah. Anyway, so everything starts with images. So politics, what do you want in politics? Okay. And I'm not going to run around pretending that I am not biased and that I don't have my likes and dislikes. I want Trump to be president. Okay. So I'm going to do what I want. And then you should do whatever you want, whoever you want, whatever you want. That's free will. So I want Trump to be president. I don't want Elon to get a government job. I don't want him to be vice president. I don't want him head of some, what do they call them? Department of Education. I know it wouldn't be that one anyway. Or the Department of New Innovations, or the head of NASA. I don't want that. But this is me. He should Visualize whatever he wants. If that's what he wants, visualize it, energize it, create it. I don't want that. Why don't I want that? Because then it'll be too busy on that. That has a lot of tedious tasks. Don't put somebody that incredible and give him all those tedious tasks. He's got too many other things he's got to do. He should get government contracts when they need him, and apparently they do at NASA, but not like head of a Department of Education or whatever. Spiritually Sophisticated Mantrisa said that dolphin message was from 2019, is when we were told that our movement would be recognized by governments and appreciated by governments because we were going to be able to help with catastrophes and other things. And I know that that's the case because we learned how to work with intention and creation, which are basic things on the planet, which apparently we couldn't get right until now. And I'm not saying we're the brightest people on the planet throughout history, but we certainly have been very focused. Anyway, so what else would I want? Well, I would want to get compensated for all those years that I wasn't compensated. And I'm going to put it here. Whatever they have to pay me, if they pay soldiers double when it's a war, then I need to be paid double, at least because I was in several wars. So that's another thing I would want. Well, what do you want? What do you want? Or are you just against things? I don't like that. I don't want that. This is terrible. I'm a good complainer, okay? I'm a Cancer. We're like whiny, whatever. What do you want? Start to energize it. Now, here's the trick with intention and magic and all the rest of that. You can have a fear and create it. That you were afraid of, you created. That's magic. Well, but I didn't want that. I specifically didn't want that. But you created it because everything that happened to you, you created. Well, you had a deeper intention than what you're in contact with. And that's the whole thing about your subconscious, the other dimensions, etc., and being half asleep. I was going to say something. We're not going to say that. So I'm going to finish now in terms of this whole magic thing. The biggest magic of them all is that everything that is around us, everything that happens to you, every single thing you created. And you can recreate. Now, if you spend all your time on computers and watching news and busy working and talking, that doesn't leave a lot of time for conscious creation. If you have a lot of trauma from your past, or even from the present, but basically from your past childhood, which would be a recreation of something that happened in other incarnations, and you haven't cleared them, it's very hard for you to get everything that you want because those traumas create a subconscious intention. So you have this woman, and I'm just giving you an example. It doesn't have to do with politics, but it would be the same thing. You can apply it to politics, whose husband beats on her. Finally, everybody is able to get her out of there, whatever, and that's over with. The guy's gone. Great. And then whatever space of time, she gets married again. And the next guy's really nice. And then it turns out that he's abusive too. Well, how can that be? He was such a nice guy. She turned him into an abuser. You can't have a victim without an abuser. If you are a victim and you didn't clear that, you're going to, by karmic law, get an abuser. How does that apply to politics? Oh my God, every inch of the way. And I was going to say what I decided not to say, and I'm still not going to say it, having to do with one of the presidents that we got that everybody said, what on earth is this? What on earth is this? We didn't take care of it before. We're going to get it again. We're going to get slapped around until we figure it out and we take care of it. But we take care of it is, why did you need that problem? Why does this country need what's going on? Because there's something that hasn't been dealt with. And karmically and with subconscious intention, you keep pulling it forward and putting it in front of you, you bump into it again. So you got to go back and you got to clean up. Once you clean it up, it's like magic. You don't need the problem anymore, and magically it all disappears. You should try that with something small in your life so that you can see it for yourself and prove it to yourself, and then you can understand how magical you are. as you're figuring out how to keep a mango underneath your chin to get your throat chakra, which is your communication center, cleared, um, so that you become a better speaker or whatever. Magic, human beings are magical, and it's denied. You do not know how many kids have told me when I used to actually see kids in person, which was decades ago, that they would tell me that they would, when they got bored at school, they would play with their mind and tell the teacher to scratch her right ear or to lift her arm or to yawn, and it would happen, and they would do it continuously, and they would tell me like a secret, like, don't say anything, don't say this, but and I'd go, yeah, I know. Why did it have to be a secret? Why were they afraid that they knew how to do magic, which is really the power of the mind? Because we have been able, you need to throw away the mango. Once you use it to draw bad energy from your body, you don't want to eat it. You throw it away. And take photographs of it. Actually, I had somebody who took mangoes and she had really bad liver issues. And she sent me the photographs. She put mangoes and wrapped them around her body and would go to sleep with them at night. Those mangoes overnight would rot from what it pulled from her liver. That's magic. It's also shamanism. It's transference of energy. It's magical. So why don't you get the politician that you think is the most damaging of all of them, and why don't you get a photograph of him and put a mango on top of it? And maybe put 4 coconuts on the edge. And then put like what is the flower? Oh dear. The flower that's called the peace flower. Jasmine. Put jasmine on it. Aromatherapy or the photograph of a jasmine flower. And you build yourself like a little altar to change the energy of this person. But in addition, you're actually helping that person, because bottom line, all humans are good people. Okay? So you're going to be helping them. Now, that altar, I strongly suggest you hide. I gave a party years ago, and then we're finishing. I gave a party years ago, and I have this statue from Peru that the Museum of Science in Miami, the curator said it was from a burial site in Peru from 2,000 years ago, that my sister found hanging in a house that she bought that was a repossession or something, I don't know. And she didn't want it because it came attached with a spirit. You all know that story. If you don't, it's another day. So I had a party and I needed to do a decoration. I love plants and flowers and all the rest of it. So I had a corner in this apartment that I lived in, and I put the statue there. And then I cut branches from a palm tree, and I had other plants there, and it looked really nice. A lot of people asked me, they said, we didn't know you were into Santeria, which is black magic, that religion that's black magic. And I went, I'm not into Santeria. And they said, what is that? That's like an altar. It looked like an altar because of the statue. So I think you're going to have to hide your little altar, which is where you want to change the energies of the politician that you really don't like. Okay? Which is now a good suggestion. So if you're worried about Maduro leaving elegantly, which is what we're asking for, then why don't you do that? Everybody who wants him to leave gracefully. He already looks dead in the water because we reduced his fire a lot. Him and everybody that was not allowing for a graceful transition. But I think it would be very helpful. And that's magic. It's not black magic. Your intentions are good. Because honestly, and I'm not just saying this, everybody, when you take away all the spirits that are attached, their reaction to their traumas, like Darth Vader in the movie Star Wars. What happened to Darth Vader? He was a Jedi Knight, I think. I don't remember all these words. Okay? What happened to him? He lost his mother. Childhood trauma. What am I telling you? The whole universe almost went to darkness because one guy lost his mother and didn't do therapy. He didn't do a mantra, a purification mantra. Even though I want to die because I lost my mother, I love and accept myself. He didn't do that. He didn't do the intention mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention to miraculously heal the trauma of losing my mother. And the entire universe almost went to the dark because of childhood trauma. Magic. By the way, you can do the mantra surrogate. So let's say you're looking at your favorite politician and something really unfair has happened and he's losing it. And you know that this is not looking so good because he's losing it. He's not holding it together. You can do a mantra for him in the moment. You can go, even though I hate, I love and accept myself. Even though I hate, I love and accept. You just say to God, God, this is for him. Let's reduce the fire in him right now, because he's making a fool of himself. Come on. Don't, but you just do the mantra. You only have to say it once. God, this is for him. Even though I hate, I love and accept myself. Even though I hate, I love, or even though I want to cut their heads off, I want to love and accept myself. And you will see within less than a minute, minute and a half, you will see the change. That's magic. That's the kind of magic I'm talking about. And where did I learn a lot of this? By watching the black magic with remote viewing to figure out what happened to a particular person to remove it. Then it turned out I really didn't need to see what it was that they did. All I had to do was have the intention to remove it. And with some techniques that I have that are not even interesting for me to explain, I'm able to remove it. But I've always said to everybody, the place I've learned the most about the creation of reality is by witnessing what black magicians do. So let's go into the healing part of this get together. And we're going to do the mantra having to do with your resistance, which is what the dolphins told us in 2019, that the Mantrista movement and myself, we resist the level of magic that we can access because we want to be like everybody else. And I know that that is true. Even though it sounds silly, I know that it is true. Okay, so the mantra is, even though I'm afraid to be a master, I'm going to go ahead and write it. The mantras are done in silence. Okay, here it is, and I'm going to get some music. Sensory Therapy by Mateo Cuaron. And we're going to do 10 minutes, and then I will be fine, because after this, we're going to go ahead and continue to work with Venezuela. Okay. The mantras are repeated in silence. You expel the breath through your mouth. The mantra again is a purification mantra. Even though I'm afraid to be a master, I love and accept myself. And even though you don't believe that you could possibly be afraid of being a master, I'm telling you, I didn't believe it either, and I know that it's accurate. So try it. Let's go with some. Here, we're going to do this one. I love this one. The whales. Isn't that incredible music by Mateo Cuaron and images? Okay. There's an expression in Spanish. So these magical things that you can do are integrated into societies that respect old information. And I remember in Cuba, when kids would behave poorly, the parents would say, I'm going to throw a coconut at your head if you keep misbehaving. Te voy a dar un cocotazo. So interesting. We need to do that with the politicians. I'm not joking. Do it. Do your little altar, but hide it because people are not going to get it and they're going to think you're into black magic, okay? Love you a lot. We'll